street tire pressure guidelines based on the size of your front and rear tire.
Maintenance schedules talk about oil changes, but never talk about valve adjustments, the thing that destroys more engines than crashes. Today, we're breaking down the 9 things that separate motorcycles cruising at 200,000 miles from the ones grenading at 40,000. And number 1, it's so counterintuitive that low-mileage garage queens actually die faster. Watch closely. This is the difference between a bike that outlives you or one that bankrupts you in repairs. We're going to count down from number 9 to number 1, starting with the basics everybody knows but nobody actually does right, building to the expensive stuff that riders skip until it's too late, and ending with something that'll probably surprise you about how you're riding right now. Number 9, check your tire pressure weekly, before every ride, not once a month, not when the bike feels weird, weekly at minimum for regular riders, before every ride for weekend warriors. Cold tires only, wait 30 minutes after riding. Tires lose 1 to 3% of pressure monthly just sitting there through osmosis. Air molecules literally pass through the rubber. For every 4 PS you're underinflated, you lose 80 pounds of load-carrying capacity. That's not theoretical. That's physics affecting how your bike handles, brakes, and corners. Research shows proper tire pressure extends tire life by 25%. More importantly, underinflated tires generate excessive heat, increase braking distances, and cause the bike to handle unpredictably in corners. Overinflated tires reduce your contact patch and bounce over road imperfections instead of absorbing them. Temperature swings wreck your pressure. Summer heat at 100 degrees Fahrenheit to winter cold at 40 degrees. You've lost 6 psi from temperature alone. Most bikes run 32 to 42 psi total, so that's a 15% pressure loss from weather. Add the natural osmosis loss and you're riding on significantly underinflated tires without realizing it. The number stamped on your tire sidewall, that's maximum load capacity, not your bike's recommended pressure. Check your owner's manual or the sticker on your frame. And those gas station air gauges? Rarely calibrated. You need your own quality gauge that you can trust. Number 8, stop ignoring your air filter. Check every 5,000 to 10,000 miles for street bikes. If you ride in dusty conditions, check it twice as often. This isn't a 50,000-mile interval, like some riders seem to think. Your engine is an air pump that happens to burn fuel. A clogged filter reduces airflow, cuts power output, worsens fuel economy, and forces your engine to work harder to make the same power. That extra work generates heat and accelerates wear on every internal component. But here's the real problem. Dirty air that makes it past a degraded filter carries abrasive particles into your engine. These particles act like sandpaper on cylinder walls, piston rings, and valve seats. The damage is gradual but permanent. You're essentially letting your engine sand itself to death at a microscopic level. Replacing your air filter is usually a 15-minute job that costs $30 to $50. Yet riders will spend $200 on exhaust modifications while riding on a filter that's been dirty for 20,000 miles, wondering why their bike feels sluggish and why fuel economy has dropped. You're choking your engine while simultaneously letting it ingest abrasives. Number 7, treat coolant like it has an expiration date. Change your coolant every 2 to 3 years or 24,000 miles, whichever comes first. Flush the system when you change it. Don't just top it off with fresh stuff and call it done. Coolant looks fine sitting in your reservoir. The bike isn't overheating, temperature gauge reads normal, so riders assume it's working and ignore the service interval. But coolant isn't just about preventing freezing, it's about corrosion protection. And those corrosion inhibitors wear out even when the liquid looks perfect. As coolant ages, it becomes acidic. That acid attacks aluminum components, your radiator, water pump housing, cylinder head. You don't see this happening until coolant turns dark brown and you're staring at scaling inside your cooling system that's restricting flow and causing hot spots in your engine. Owner forums are full of bikes with 60,000 miles on original coolant, running fine until suddenly the water pump fails or the radiator develops pinhole leaks. The replacement cost for a water pump and radiator? $800 to $1,500. The coolant change they skipped for 5 years. $50 in parts, 45 minutes of work. Some manufacturers recommend checking coolant pH with a voltmeter. You can actually measure the electrical conductivity to determine if the corrosion inhibitors are depleted. But honestly, just change it every 2 to 3 years with a proper flush and skip the science project. Your water pump will thank you. Number 6. A battery tender isn't just for winter. Connect your bike to a battery tender, also called a trickle charger, whenever it's parked for more than a week. Not just during winter storage. Year-round maintenance. Motorcycle batteries discharge even when the bike isn't running. Modern bikes with fuel injection, ECUs, clocks, and alarm systems draw power constantly. A battery that repeatedly discharges and recharges degrades faster than one maintained at optimal charge. It's basic battery chemistry. Deep discharge cycles kill lead-acid batteries. The math is simple. A quality battery tender costs $40 to $80. A motorcycle battery costs $80 to $150 and should last 3 to 4 years with proper maintenance. Without a tender, you're replacing batteries every 18 to 24 months and dealing with starting issues that always happen on the morning you're already running late. For winter storage specifically, cold temperatures reduce battery capacity dramatically. A fully charged battery can handle freezing temps. A partially discharged battery can freeze and crack internally. That's a dead battery that won't hold a charge come spring, and you're buying a new one before you even get a ride in. Don't confuse a battery tender with a regular charger. Tenders maintain charge without overcharging. You can leave them connected for months safely. Regular chargers will cook your battery if left on too long. A tender monitors voltage and pulses charge as needed. It's literally designed to be forgotten about. Number 5. Chain maintenance is about frequency, not just technique. Clean and lube your chain every 500 to 600 miles. Check tension every 1,000 miles. If you ride in rain or dusty conditions, cut those intervals in half. This is not negotiable if you want your chain to last. Chains don't fail because they're old. They fail because dirt acts like grinding paste between the pins and rollers. Every grain of road grit accelerates wear exponentially. A clean, properly lubricated chain lasts 20,000 to 30,000 miles. A neglected chain that only gets attention when it's making noise, 8,000 to 12,000 if you're lucky. Here's what dealers don't emphasize enough. Worn chains destroy sprockets, and worn sprockets destroy new chains. That's why you replace them as a set. Try to save money by only replacing the chain. You'll be replacing it again in 5,000 miles when the worn sprockets chew it up like a wood chipper eating soft pine. The best time to lube your chain is immediately after riding, while it's still warm. The chain is hot, and warm lube penetrates the O-rings better than cold lube. Lubing a cold chain means the lube stays on the surface instead of getting inside where it's actually needed to protect the pins and rollers. What kills chains faster than anything? Not the miles, it's the stop-and-go riding. Highway miles are easier on chains than city riding with constant acceleration and deceleration. If you commute in traffic, your chain needs more frequent attention than someone who racks up interstate miles. The loads and stresses are completely different. Number 4, winter storage done wrong costs you big come spring. For bikes stored 3 months or longer, fill the tank completely, add fuel stabilizer, run the engine for 5 to 10 minutes to circulate it through the system. Battery on a tender, tires off the ground or overinflated by 5 to 10 psi to prevent flat spotting. Change oil before storage, not after. Clean the bike thoroughly. Modern ethanol-blended fuel turns into varnish in about 90 days. This varnish clogs fuel injectors and carburetors, creating starting problems and rough running. Cleaning gummed injectors at a shop? $300 to $600? The fuel stabilizer you skipped because it seemed unnecessary? $12 for a bottle that treats multiple tanks. Why full tank versus empty? Empty fuel tank equals exposed metal surface area equals condensation equals rust inside your tank. Full tank with stabilizer means no airspace for condensation, and treated fuel prevents degradation. Some riders drain tanks completely and that works, but only if you're meticulous about it. Miss some fuel? Now you've got concentrated varnish. Change oil before storage, not in spring. You don't want contaminated oil sitting in your engine for 4 months. Combustion byproducts in used oil are acidic. They'll corrode bearings and cylinder walls while the bike sits. Fresh oil provides a protective coating. This is cheap insurance that costs you nothing but 30 minutes of time. The just started every week myth needs to die. Don't do this. Short starts without getting the engine to full operating temperature introduce condensation into the engine and exhaust system. Either ride it properly for 30+ minutes at operating temperature to burn off moisture, or leave it alone on the tender. There's no middle ground that's actually helpful. A battery left in a cold garage without a tender will be dead come spring, guaranteed. Replacing it costs $100 to $150. The tender you didn't buy? $50, one-time purchase. Lasts for years. The math isn't complicated. You're just choosing to spend more money later instead of less money now. Number 3, oil changes are about more than just intervals. Use the oil type specified in your manual. This matters more than you think. Change mineral oil every 2,000 to 3,000 miles, semi-synthetic every 5,000 to 6,000, full synthetic every 7,000 to 10,000. Always change the filter with the oil. This isn't optional. Using full synthetic in an older bike designed for mineral oil can cause leaks. The tighter tolerances in modern engines handle synthetic's superior cleaning properties, but older engines with larger clearances can develop seal leaks when synthetic cleans away deposits that were actually sealing gaps. It's not the oil's fault. It's doing its job too well for an engine that wasn't designed for it. Here's what most riders miss. If you're only taking 20-minute rides, you need to change oil more frequently, not less. The engine never gets hot enough to burn off condensation and combustion byproducts. That moisture sits in your oil, forming acids that corrode engine internals. Short trips are harder on oil than long highway cruises. Motorcycles with religious oil change schedules last 40% longer than those with deferred maintenance. Not 10% longer, 40%. That's the difference between 60,000 miles before major issues and 100,000 plus miles. The data comes from Consumer Reports reliability studies and owner surveys tracking actual engine life. What actually wears out oil? It's not just miles, it's heat cycles and contamination. A bike that does 10,000 highway miles might have cleaner oil than one with 5,000 city miles. Revving to redline, carrying passengers, riding in extreme heat, stop-and-go traffic. All degrade oil faster than the odometer mileage suggests. Adjust your intervals based on how you ride. Changing oil without changing the filter is false economy. You're mixing fresh oil with whatever contaminants are trapped in the old filter. You've now contaminated your new oil immediately. The filter costs $8 to $15. Don't skip it to save less than the cost of lunch. You're defeating the entire purpose of the oil change. Number 2, valve adjustments cost money, but skipping them costs your engine. Check valves at manufacturer-specified intervals, usually 12,000 to 15,000 miles for most bikes, sometimes as early as 6,000 for high-performance engines. First check at 600 to 1,000 miles on new bikes is absolutely critical. Do not skip this. Valve adjustment on a sport bike with 16 valves costs $250 to $350 at independent shops, $400 to $500 at dealers. European bikes like Ducatis and BMWs, $500 to $900. It's labor-intensive, requires specialized tools, and takes 3 to 6 hours depending on engine design. This is expensive preventive maintenance that feels painful to pay for. Why riders skip it? The bike runs fine. There's no obvious problem. $600 feels like a lot of money for something that isn't broken. So they wait and wait and wait until the bike starts hard, loses power, or makes that ticking sound that means damage is already occurring. What actually happens when you skip valve adjustments? Valves tighten over time as seats wear. Tight valves stay open longer than they should, preventing proper sealing in the combustion chamber. This causes loss of compression, overheating, and eventually bent valves or broken camshafts. The rebuild cost for that damage? $3,000 to $5,000 for the $600 adjustment you skipped. According to Motorcycle Consumer News, engines with regular valve maintenance last approximately 40% longer than neglected engines. That's not manufacturer marketing, that's actual owner survey data tracking engine failures and rebuild needs across thousands of motorcycles. New bikes need valve checks early, around 600 to 1,000 miles, because valves seat during break-in, settling deeper into the combustion chamber. This changes clearances significantly. Miss this first check, and you might void your warranty if valve-related damage occurs. Manufacturers put this in the service schedule for a reason. By the time you hear valve noise or notice hard starting, damage is already occurring. Properly adjusted valves are silent. If you can hear them ticking loudly, they're already out of spec, usually on the loose side, which is less catastrophic than tight valves but still accelerates wear on cam lobes and rocker arms. Number 1, actually ride it properly. Short trips are killing your bike. The most counterintuitive thing that extends motorcycle life? Actually riding it regularly for 30+ minutes at a time. Low-mileage garage queens often have more problems than high-mileage daily riders. This surprises people, but the data is overwhelming. Engines need to reach full operating temperature for at least 20 to 30 minutes to burn off moisture and combustion byproducts. Those quick 10-minute trips to the coffee shop or the gas station? You're introducing condensation into the engine and exhaust without giving the bike enough time to cook it off. You're literally rusting your bike from the inside. Moisture in your oil combines with combustion byproducts to form sulfuric acid. These acids corrode bearings, cylinder walls, and valve stems. Your exhaust system rusts from the inside out where you can't see it until pipes start developing holes. Your battery never fully recharges from short trips. Your fuel system develops varnish faster because the engine isn't getting hot enough to keep fuel flowing properly. The bike with 3,000 miles over 5 years, all short trips, often needs more repairs than the bike with 30,000 miles over 3 years from a daily commuter who rides 30 to 40 minutes each way. Miles don't kill bikes. How those miles happen matters infinitely more. It's about temperature cycles, moisture management, and keeping everything properly lubricated through actual use. The solution is simple. Once or twice a month, take the long way home. Get your bike to operating temperature and keep it there for 30+ minutes. Ride to a destination that's 20 miles away instead of 5. This single practice prevents more problems than most riders realize. It's free maintenance that costs nothing but enjoying your motorcycle the way it was designed to be enjoyed. Why this is number 1? Because everything else on this list, oil changes, valve adjustments, coolant flushes, chain maintenance, works better when you're actually using the bike the way it was designed to be used. A motorcycle engine is happiest at operating temperature, moving down the road with oil circulating, coolant flowing, and combustion happening properly. That's what it was engineered for. Short trips are the opposite of optimal operating conditions. Add it all up. Checking tire pressure takes 2 minutes. Air filter replacement, 15 minutes and $40. Coolant every 3 years, $50 in an hour. Battery tender, one $60 purchase that lasts for years. Chain maintenance, 20 minutes every few weeks. Winter storage done right, maybe 90 minutes total. Oil changes every few thousand miles, $50 to $80. Valve adjustments every 15,000 miles, $400 to $600. None of this is complicated. None of it requires factory-level tools or certifications. But skip it. Now you're looking at seized engines, destroyed valve trains, corroded cooling systems, and complete rebuilds that cost more than many used motorcycles are worth. Those million-mile motorcycles exist because someone did these 9 things religiously, without fail, for decades. The 40,000-mile grenades exist because someone figured, it's running fine, why spend the money? Your bike will last as long as you're willing to maintain it. Honda Goldwings routinely pass 200,000 miles with original engines. BMW Tours hit similar numbers. Harleys with meticulous maintenance records go 150,000+ miles. But only if their owners actually do this stuff consistently, not just when they remember or when something breaks. The choice is simple. Spend a few $100s a year on prevention, or spend a few thousand every few years on catastrophic repairs. Your motorcycle doesn't care which you choose. It'll happily die young from neglect or run forever with attention. The parts that outlive you are the ones that get maintained. Speaking of bikes that last forever, if you want to see which motorcycles never need these repairs in the first place, check out our breakdown of 17 motorcycles that will bankrupt your mechanic because they literally never break. These are the bulletproof machines that laugh at maintenance schedules.